It's been a week of first time since for the Carolina Panthers, and with a win on Sunday against the Jets, it will be their first 3-game winning streak since 2021. Can they get it done? I'll give you my 3 keys to victory against the Jets right here on Locked On Panthers.
You are Locked On Panthers, your daily Carolina Panthers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into another edition of the Locked On Panthers podcast, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, as always, Julian Council, talking Carolina Panthers with you every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and yes, of course, Friday, your team every day. That's our motto here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for watching the show right here on YouTube and listening wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. We're back once again here on a Friday as the 3-3 Carolina Panthers head up to New York, technically New Jersey, to face off against the 0-6 winless Jets. And with a win on Sunday, it will be the first time the Panthers have had a 3-game winning streak since the beginning of the 2021 season. And the last time that they have been also above 500 occurred back in 2021. A big game for the Panthers to show who they are and who they are not before 2 really big tests to identify just how good this Panthers team can be in 2025 as they welcome the Buffalo Bills next week at home, then followed by a trip up to Green Bay to face the Packers there in Lambeau Field. Chuba Hubbard and Jalen Coker should be back on Sunday, but the Panthers going to likely be missing some players there on the offensive line. We'll go over the injury report later on, but let's start off this Friday show as we start off every single Friday throughout the regular season here on Locked On Panthers, and that's with my 3 keys victory for the Panthers that Sunday. Key number 1. I think we all know what this is going to be, right? We all have seen what's played out the last 2 weeks. It's continue the success on the ground. Now, Chuba Hubbard, he's back. He's good to go. And the big question the last couple of weeks as Rico Dowdle has gone off. 206 yards rushing against Miami. Then after that, in the locker room, telling his former team, the Dallas Cowboys, to buckle up. The next week, rush for 183 yards, 239 yards from scrimmage. And by doing that, the past 2 weeks, the amount of yardage that he had, 239 yards from scrimmage against the Cowboys, 234 against the Dolphins. He became the 6th running back in the history of the National Football League with at least 225 yards from scrimmage and a touchdown in consecutive games. The only other guys who have done that are Dalvin Cook back in 2020 with the Vikings, Le'Veon Bell back in 2014 with Pittsburgh, Deuce McAllister back in 2003 with New Orleans, Marshall Faulk, a Hall of Famer back in 2002 with the Rams when they were in St. Louis, and then Walter Payton, maybe the all-time greatest back in 1977 with the Bears. That's how good Rico Dowdle has been the last 2 weeks and how great this rushing offense has been, even though they have had 5 different starting offensive line combinations through the first 6 weeks of the season, and maybe 6 out of 7, depending on if someone's available or not, coming up on Sunday. And the question, since Rico's been playing that well, and he's been brought on a 1-year deal, and that Chuba Hubbard has signed a 4-year deal last year. He's in the first year of a 4-year deal right now in 2025, is how are the Panthers going to split the carries? Is Chuba going to start? Is Rico going to start? How's it going to work out? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. And Derek Brown said this on Thursday in the locker room that people were making way too much out of this. We have seen in Carolina, now it was a different regime, but we have seen that the Panthers can utilize 2 guys at the same time. And Chuba Hubbard has been a part of that with Deontay Foreman a couple of years ago. Once Steve Wilkes took over as the interim and told Ben McAdoo, hey, buddy, we ain't throwing the ball anymore. Run the damn ball. And they had a ton of success. The best offensive output in the history of this franchise came against the Lions with Chuba and Deontay running the damn ball down the Lions' throat that afternoon. So why can't they do that now with Rico and with Chuba and a passing game that hasn't been healthy because Coker's not played this year. Leggett missed some games. JT Sanders missed some games. They haven't been in position to be at their best, but even when they're fully healthy, do we really think this is going to be a great passing game this season? I'm not of the opinion. Now, we'll wait and see just how good they can be once JT comes back, Jalen comes back, and there's that continuity built up with the young receivers and Bryce Young in his third year as a starter here in Carolina. But I know one thing for a fact is they can run the ball. They're top 3 in the league at it right now. When you look at EPA, you look at success rate, you look at just the amount of yardage simply, they've been a top 3 rushing attack. And the last 2 weeks, it's been in large part because of Rico Dowdle, but also what this offensive line has been able to do. So I don't care whether it's Rico going out there first or Chuba going out there first. Split the carries, ride the hot hand, keep them both fresh, and run the damn ball. It does not matter. The last time they were together was against New England a couple weeks ago. 19 carries, 81 yards. I think they can do better than that against the Jets and moving forward. It was 10 carries for Chuba that day, 9 for Rico. So they were already going in the direction of what everybody wanted to see. Now, I think there's probably the majority want to see Rico be the guy for the most part, then put in Chuba. I think you're going to see Chuba go out there, make some plays, and remind you all that, hey, I can still do this too. So the Panthers, with not a great passing attack, have one of the best rushing attacks in the NFL. And now you can utilize both 1,000-yard rushing backs from a year ago in this offense, behind this offensive line. There are no problems at all. The only problems are the ones that you're creating in your head that you think exist that do not exist. From Dave's mouth, Rico's mouth, Chuba's mouth, Derek Brown's mouth, no issue at all. It is an advantage. It's a strength for Carolina that they have both those guys, and they need to continue the success on the ground that they've had the last couple of weeks with both Rico and with Chuba Hubbard there on Sunday against the Jets at MetLife Stadium. Number 2, get pressure on Justin Fields. Unfortunately for Carolina, their outside linebacker, Pat Jones II, is out for the season. He had back surgery on Thursday, according to Joe Person of The Athletic. That's an injury that apparently occurred during that game against Dallas. He was able to finish the game, but afterwards was not in good shape, and he had to get back surgery yesterday on Thursday. So he's out for the season, meaning it's going to be down to DJ Wonnum, Princely Umanmiele, Nick Scorton, and even someone like Thomas Nkoum to step up for the rest of the season. And it is a significant loss. Can't forget that Pat Jones came out there and was able to get that sack that iced the game against Miami a couple of weeks ago in that comeback. And he also, according to PFF, leads the Panthers in PFF pressure percentage at 10.6%. DJ Wonnum's at 8.5%. Princely Umanmiele's at 7.5%. And Nick Scorton, who'll be stepping into that starting role, is at 5.8%. Overall, the Panthers are currently last in the NFL in PFF pressure percentage at 24%. If you look at Pro Football Reference, their models have them at an 8.4%. So much worse. Looking at ESPN's pass rush win rate, they are last in that. And they're 29th in PFF's pass rushing stat as well. So this is one of the worst pass rushes in the NFL at this point in time. And looking over at Mike Kay from the Charlotte Observer, he tweeted this out on Thursday. He's been talking to some sources about potentially a trade at the deadline for Carolina trying to find a pass rusher. Apparently a lot of people in the league are looking for a pass rusher. So the supply is going to be a lot lower than what the demand is for them right now. And I think that's probably the case most years anyway. So we'll see what they do there. But I wouldn't hold your breath as far as think they're going to get a pass rusher in the coming weeks at the deadline. They're last in the league with 5 sacks. That's the bad news. The good news is the Jets are a train wreck offensively as far as pass protection goes. The Jets are dead last in PFF pressure percentage, allowed at 51.1%. They've allowed 112 pressures and 25 sacks, including 9 sacks last Sunday in the loss versus Denver in London. They rank 25th in ESPN's pass block win rate. They're 24th in PFF's pass blocking stat. And if you look at it, you're going to say the offensive line's bad. And certainly it's not a good offensive line in New York. And that's been the case for years now, whether it was Aaron Rodgers there the last 2 seasons, or it was Zach Wilson, or if it was Sam Darnold. These offensive lines the Jets have built have just been among the league's worst year in and year out. And I just don't know how that continues to happen across coaching staffs and general managers. They can't identify, they can't develop at all there right now in New York. But the quarterback is also a problem. And it's a misconception sometimes that sacks are an offensive line stat. A lot of times they're a quarterback stat. Is your quarterback getting the ball out on time? Is he holding on to the ball too long and making bad decisions? That appears to be the case in New York. If you watch even a drive of that game against Denver on Sunday, you saw that, oh, yeah, the offensive line with the Jets is not good, but they're not helped at all by Justin Fields and his inability to make the right decisions back there at the quarterback spot. Justin Fields, by the way, he is averaging the second most clean time to throw in the NFL at 2.56 seconds. That's only behind Jalen Hurts, who has a good offensive line up there in Philadelphia. And what that tells me is he's holding on to the ball too damn long, and that's leading to 9 sacks like they gave up last week against Denver. And if he does the same thing against this team that has not been able to get after the passer at all, against now a bad offensive line they're going up against on Sunday, that's going to even spell out more to the Jets that, oh man, they paid the wrong guy. Fields is not the right person to have behind this offensive line the rest of the season. And I'll ask this about the Panthers pass rush. If not this week, then when? When are they going to be able to get after the passer? When are they going to be able to make a difference on that side of the ball? If it's not going to happen this week, I don't know when it's going to happen, if at all, this season. Now, I will say this. With Princely and Neck now definitely being in bigger roles moving forward, with Pat Jones out for the rest of the season, they'll grow into it as the season progresses. My expectation was never for these guys to come out here and be big-time pressure rate sack guys as rookies. That's going to be something that develops over time. And Princely, just according to the stats, has been ahead of Nick at this point in time. Just give him some time. It will happen. It's been 6 games of their career so far, going to game 7 against a prime opponent to take advantage of. It's going to take some time. I understand. But the Panthers pass rush has not been good in recent years. But I'm sure a lot of you who are frustrated by that also didn't want to see them pay Brian Burns. So kind of miss me with you being concerned about that. Key number 3, win the turnover margin. The Panthers have actually, the last 2 weeks, lost turnover margin and found a way to win those games. Last season against New Orleans was the only other time during the Dave Canales era that the Panthers have lost turnover margin and won the game. You actually have to go back to week 6 and week 7 of the 2015 season to find the last time the Panthers lost turnover battle in back-to-back games and won both of those games. It also happened back in 2009 and occurred twice during the 2003 season where the Panthers went to the Super Bowl. So the years where they lose a turnover battle in back-to-back weeks and win the game in back-to-back weeks, twice they've gone to the Super Bowl. And then in 2009, didn't they end up being like the 2nd seed in the NFC that year before Jake Delhomme completely fell apart? No, they were 8-8 that season. Okay, so they've had success. So we talked about it before about Jacksonville and Ohio State and J-Lo and all of that. Maybe throw that in there as well. But simply when the Panthers have turned the ball over more often than not, and this is every NFL team, they have lost games. And for the season so far, Carolina is tied with the Browns and Raiders for 27th in turnover margin at -4. The Jets are tied with the Ravens for last in the NFL with a -7 turnover margin. The Panthers and Jets, though, they are tied for the second most opponents points off of turnovers with 41. The only way I can see New York winning this game is if the Panthers turn the ball over. The Jets have 3 points off turnovers, and their opponents have turned the ball over once in 6 games so far this season. 3 points off of that. Don't turn it over. Don't give them a short field. That's the only way that they can keep up offensively. The only way that I think they can truly score a lot of points, and the only way they can win this game. So you win the turnover margin, you win the game. That's pretty simple stuff every single week, but especially against this opponent, that should equal a W for the Carolina Panthers. So win the turnover margin, go out there and get pressure on Justin Fields, and continue success on the ground with Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle back there on Sunday against the Jets. The injury report, the Panthers looking like they're going to have a couple guys back, but maybe missing an offensive lineman. And the Jets, bad news as far as Garrett Wilson goes. Talk about that here in just a moment on Locked On Panthers. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. October 10th was World Mental Health Day, and this year we're saying thank you, therapists. Life can be tough on and off the field, and behind millions of mental health journeys are therapists who showed up, listened, and helped people take a step forward. BetterHelp is shining the spotlight on those connections while also making it simpler for you to find support whenever you need it. Therapy moments can be life-changing, whether it's learning to better connect with your kids, healing a relationship, or finding healthy ways to manage stress. If you've ever thought about trying therapy, this is the perfect reminder that help is out there and the right therapist can make all the difference. This World Mental Health Day, join us in celebrating the therapists who have helped millions take a step forward. If you're ready to start your own journey, BetterHelp can help you find the right therapist. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/lockedon. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/locked-on. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Every day we make decisions, but on Prize Picks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss the excitement of this football season with Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Playing Prize Picks is such a fun, simple way to add more excitement to football. You just pick more or less on player projections like Josh Allen's passing yards or Saquon Barkley rushing for a touchdown, and you're in the game. I love how quick it is. You can make your lineup in under a minute. My favorite part, Prize Picks just added stacks. So if I want to rival player, I can select their pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns all in one lineup. It's also fun to follow other players in the app and copy their lineups with one click. There's a special max discount promotion live on the board right now for the Golden State Warriors versus Los Angeles Lakers game on October 21st. Steph Curry is discounted to only needing more than a half a point to win. Mix and match players from football, basketball, and baseball to build your dream lineup today. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. A lot of injury news heading into this Week 7 matchup for the Carolina Panthers, heading up to New York to face off against the 0-6 Jets. And let's go ahead and start off with the Jets. A big loss for them heading into the week. They're not going to have Garrett Wilson available. He has a knee sprain. Now, he's been listed as doubtful, but Aaron Glenn, their first-year head coach up there in New York, said that he is unlikely going to play. So there goes New York's best wide receiver. And we talked to John Butchko of Locked On Jets about this yesterday. They don't got it, man. I mean, when you're trying out Arian Smith and the rest of that group, they're in a bad situation in New York. So whether Justin Fields is the quarterback or not, I don't know how they're going to have success with the passing options available. Now, Breece Hall, obviously fantastic at running back, but the Jets should not be scoring on this Panthers team. And considering the last 2 weeks against the Dolphins and Cowboys, this defense has only allowed 50 yards combined rushing. If they stop the run again like that against New York, the Jets may not score a single point on Sunday. Like, that's how bad they are offensively since week 1, where they looked really good against Pittsburgh in that heartbreaking loss. But looking over at the Panthers side of things, no designation for Chuba Hubbard, who's been out the last couple of weeks with a calf injury. He will be good to go. JT Sanders, no designation for him either, as he's been out with a sprained ankle, missing the past 3 games. So he's back in there. JC Horn, he's listed with a shoulder, but he's good to go. Caleb Evans, who missed last week with a hamstring injury, also listed with a hamstring, but he's also good to go on Sunday. The only player who is listed as out is Pat Jones II, as I mentioned earlier, and as reported by Joe Person on Thursday. He had a season-ending injury, a season-ending surgery on his back on Thursday morning. So he's not going to, of course, play the rest of the year. And I'm expecting that on Saturday at some point in time. The Panthers typically name the guys that they're going to elevate and all that. That we'll understand then that they put them on IR, and we'll see who they've signed to the active roster, what other moves they've made ahead of the game on Sunday. So he's the only one who's officially out for the game. Questionable. Got 5 guys listed as questionable right now. Jalen Coker has a quad. He's questionable, but Dave Canales did say on Friday that Jalen Coker is going to play. So that means Xavier Legette, Jalen Coker, Tedero McMillan for the first time this season, all out there for Bryce Young plus JT Sanders. Those should be his 4 top pass catchers moving forward throughout this season and in the years to come, as long as everything works out for Carolina. So opportunity finally for this passing game to be healthy and to take a step forward against the Jets team on Sunday. So that's big news that he'll be out there. Dave Canales again saying he's going to play. Austin Corbett is questionable with a knee. Now, he's been on IR the last 4 weeks. He's been out with that knee injury, a grade 3 MCL sprain. Now, the timeline of recovery was listed as 6 to 8 weeks, and he would be ahead of schedule, which appears to be the case. And I had been in there on Wednesday in the locker room, asked him about how he felt. He said wouldn't really know until the pads came on Thursday. I don't know if he talked yesterday. They only had to talk one time throughout the week, so I doubt he spoke yesterday, but I don't know. But they had the pads on Thursday. He was full participant then, full participant again on Friday. And Dave did say that he could potentially play. And a big reason why he would play is that Damian Lewis was listed with a chest injury on Thursday. That's been changed to a shoulder injury. He did not practice either of these last 2 days, on Thursday and on Friday. Now he will make the trip to New Jersey. They'll get to see whether he can go or not. If he's out, that would mean the Panthers will have their 6th starting offensive line combination in 7 games. Not ideal. Now, a good thing, though, would be if Austin Corbett could be there at guard instead of Damian Lewis if Davis is not going to play, because that's at least another starter. You would rather it be Austin than, say, Brandon Walton, who oddly went in once Chandler Zavala went out a couple weeks ago and not lost against New England instead of Brady Christensen. Walton, by the way, he's been elevated from the practice squad 3 times. That is the maximum that teams can do. So if they want to have him back on the active roster at any point this season, they're going to have to sign him to the active roster, which I could see happening considering you still have Corbett on IR. He's going to come off of it maybe next week or this week coming up on Sunday. Robert Hunt not coming back anytime soon. Chandler Zavala, don't know what the timeline is there. So it would make sense for Brandon Walton to come back up there to be active on the roster, be signed to the active 53 for this Sunday. So if Austin's good to go and Damian's not a bad situation for Carolina, even if it would be their 6th starting offensive line combination in 7 games. Taylor Moton, his elbow, they said last week that they hoped it would only be a 1-week thing. Limited on Wednesday, limited on Thursday, full on Friday. So I'm expecting that he's going to be good to go. And then Turk Wharton has been limited all week of a toe injury. He's missed the last 2 weeks. He's missed 4 out of the first 6 games due to injury. Hasn't all been toe. It was hamstring before that. So Turk was a big free agent signing for Carolina and has yet to make the kind of impact that everyone was hoping he would make this season. So that's the injury report for the Carolina Panthers heading into this Week 7 matchup against the Jets. Can the Panthers be trusted? We'll find out on Sunday. We'll talk about it here in just a moment on Locked On Panthers. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings this same intention to how they craft every model. You can feel Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. You can make everyday drives feel like anything but, from smooth handling to intuitive controls. With all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like our players, Mazda sweats every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. Guys, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them, but if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rougiette Go Long. This isn't just another ED pill. It's a total game changer for confidence. Go Long combines 2 doctor-trusted medications in one dual-action formula, so you can get hard and go the distance. The effects can last up to 36 hours. That's confidence all day, all night, and even into the next day. The process is simple. Connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online, and if prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly right to your door. Ready to level up your confidence in the bedroom? Head to RUGIET.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 for 15% off your first order. Rather, that's RUGIET.com, promo code LOCKEDONNFL. Make sure to use our code so they know we sent you. Can the Carolina Panthers be trusted? I know they've won back-to-back games against the Cowboys and against the Dolphins at home. They're 3-0 at home this season, 500 for the first time since Week 10 of the 2021 season. But still, I asked the question, can we truly trust the Panthers right now heading into this game against a winless Jets team, a desperate Jets team, and a team in a position that Carolina has been in the last couple of seasons by not getting their season off the ground? I don't know about you, but immediately after the game on Sunday in my friends group chat, I saw someone put out there, watch the Panthers go lose to the Jets on Sunday. And I'm sure that's been an overused joke throughout Panther group chats or just friend group chats throughout the Charlotte area and wherever Panther fans may be throughout the country. And frankly, for me, I just don't trust this team to take care of business on Sunday. And honestly, why should I? And I'm not trying to be negative heading into this game where all the vibes are positive. They're 3-3. You're feeling good about this should be a win. And absolutely, if I was going to make a pick, I would pick Carolina to win this game. But also, like, I would be pretty nervous about wanting to do that because it's just the fact that we saw them win 30-0. And then they lost 42-13 against New England. And I know they bounced back the last 2 weeks. They won that game against Miami, even though they were in a 17-0 hole, and that they won last week against Dallas. That's awesome. But under Dave Canales, and really under Matt Rule and under Frank Reich, this team has demonstrated the inability to win on the road. They're 2-9 so far under Canales. So when I look at last year and even the first 3 weeks of the season where they've been on the road, how can I sit here and have full confidence in this team's ability to go out there and to win that game? And it's not just the road woes. It's also just what we've seen of late. Remember, first time since 2021 that they've been 500. If they win on Sunday, first time since 2021 that they would have been above 500 during a season. It's been a while since we've seen consistently good football from this organization, whether it's been Matt Rule or Frank Reich, Steve Wilkes for a time, but Dave Canales, Baker Mayfield, PJ Walker, Sam Darnold, you name it. Just been a ton of bad. And I think still a lot of scar tissue for people and podcasters like me to really want to trust this team and feel like, okay, they finally have arrived to being a competent team and able to avoid the kind of letdowns a loss on Sunday against the Jets would be. Like, they've started the last 2 seasons 1-7-0-6, guys. And again, hadn't been 500 since the middle of the 2021 season. There hasn't been much proof of concept that this team can achieve success and then handle success once they've gotten it. Now, Derek Brown and Jason Horn have said all the right things this past week, where Derek had said that they'd be fools to take the Jets lightly, and that JC says that they know exactly how the Jets feel as they've been in that position the last couple of seasons. Again, 1-7 last year, 0-6 the previous season to start off their year. So they know just how the Jets feel and how this can be a trap game for them. And with the win, you get to 4-3. You're above 500. For the first time since entering week 6 in 2021. And it would also show where Carolina isn't. And that would be not in the bottom tier of the NFL, as that's clearly where the Jets and the Dolphins are this season. I don't know where Dallas is. I think they're probably a middle of the road team, but I know the Jets are awful. I know the Dolphins are also awful. The Panthers, I don't think they're awful. And I think they've shown that over the last couple of weeks that they're truly not awful, but are they immune to losing to the Jets? We'll find out on Sunday. And if they do get it done, they have 2 big measuring stick games against Buffalo next week at home and then up in Green Bay. And if they're 4-3, having won 3 straight, undefeated at home, that is going to be one of the biggest games that the Panthers have had at home in years. Probably the biggest one since Cam Newton came back against Washington and Ron Rivera was on the other side. That would be the biggest game. I would think the biggest home that Carolina's had since that Cam Newton return. And this one would actually, there's still hope back then because they were 5-5. There's still hope that Cam could lead Carolina back and get them to the playoffs. But this year, you wouldn't even be halfway through, and you'd be 4-3, and your things are different as far as you didn't have a coach. Really, I guess they still had. Yeah, still had Rule. It would just be a different feel. So I don't trust them just yet. I'm starting to trust them, and they can gain my trust. I don't know about fully, but they can gain my trust and not go out there and lose clunkers against the Jets. They win this game on Sunday and would really set up what can be a fun week next week leading up to that Bills game if they are 4-3, facing up against a Bills team that can be got. We saw Atlanta do it. Carolina beat the hell out of Atlanta, even if it was an off Sunday for the Falcons. So we'll see if the Panthers truly can be trusted as they head up to New York to face off against the winless Jets on Sunday. That's going to wrap up this edition of the Locked On Panthers podcast, part of Locked On Podcast Network. Host by yours truly, Julian Council. Again, y'all subscribe and follow the show free over on YouTube or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. And be sure to follow me, Julian Council over on Twitter and Blue Sky at Julian Council, where I'm back next Wednesday answering your weekly Wednesday mailbag questions. All you got to do is at me or DM me over on Twitter and over on Blue Sky immediately after the game on Sunday, and I will answer those questions next Wednesday. But in the meantime, be safe, be happy, be whole. As always, keep pounding. And quick programming note for y'all, I have some duties with NASCAR Motor Racing Network where I go work full-time. I got to work on a pre-race broadcast of the Yellowwood 500 from Talladega Super Speedway on Sunday. So listen to your local MRN station to listen to all that I put together for you for that Sunday. Got Denny Hamlin. Nice little one-on-one there. But yeah, got that. So I'm going to be doing that until the end of the race, which should be over by like 6. I get home around 7. And then I'll hopefully be recording by like 7:30. 8 o'clock, get that out to you all. So it's gonna be a while before you hear from me on Sunday. Only time this year it's gonna happen. So wanted it to be later on, wanted it to be when I was not gonna be a home game for Carolina. So just want to give you all that heads up. But I will talk to y'all here on YouTube and on your podcast feeds on Sunday.